Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's see what we can get into. We're going to do a little bit of this Art Bell, and we're going to be picking up on West Coast New Face on Mars with Michael C. Luckman. And this is going to be open lines.
It shows the photograph of the New Face on Mars, the tunnels, what appear to be drained from vegetation. The glass tubes and what Tom Van Fleck refers to as arranged triangles that are nearly identical to one another. So it's packed with information. It's the best, most compelling photograph of 55,000 that came out by Will Surveyor. And that was the video. Well, the video was just come out very recently by Terra Entertainment. We had an older version of it, but this is the more serious version, if you will, the sleeker version. And how much is it? I believe it's 1995. And they can also call 1-800-723-9479. And it's called Life on Mars, New Scientific Evidence. So I really was trained to go as an astronaut to Mars, earlier man mission that never transpired. Is on it. He says some other interesting things about the meaning of the face and some of the other objects. Of course, John Van Flandern worked with the U.S. Observatory is on there. All right, that's what it is. Actually. Before we get back to Michael, Richard and Linda in Seattle sent this to me about an hour ago. Hello, Art. I don't know if you read your email. Obviously, I do. But I thought I would send you this redesigned picture of yours, sort of back to you. I looked at your website. I love the site. With your visit to the site where somewhere in time the movie was made. Yes, I did go there with my soulmate, my wife. My wife and I also love the movie. Time traveling is something I find fascinating. I'd love to go back to Michelangelo and Leonardo's time and just stay there and learn painting from them. I was surprised your wife is from another country. That's cool. When you mentioned that you were in the Air Force station in Okinawa, it was even more cool. I'm a product of a mixed marriage. My father was in the Air Force station in Japan in the 50s and married my cute little Japanese mom, because I was born in southern Japan. And that's not me, but well, thank you for the program. My wife found you on the radio a few years back, and we've listening on a regular basis since. Your topics were refreshing years back, unless you let me plow through all the nice things they're saying. Some of your topics thrill my artistic imagination and gives me great subject matter to paint like your wife. When I saw one particular side of Ramona standing in that beautiful wine-colored dress in a nice flowing pose, I had to make something mysterious from it and send it to you. Hope I didn't make you mad by redoing the picture. If you look at the picture, you created a nicely composed shot. Thank you, I did, yes. With the hotel in the background. It would make for a great full-size painting in oil, very 19th century. Will, sir, thank you again for your show. For go on, only make the kudos here. What she said was the most beautiful picture that she did. And here it is. It's now on my website at artbell.com. It's entitled Ramona Somewhere in Time Painting. And it's awesome. I mean, this really is awesome work. It comes from a real photograph that we took at the hotel. And all she did was a little artistic work with it. And it really is cool. That is my wife, Ramona, my soulmate. And that is the hotel from Somewhere in Time. In the background, and that's exactly where we took that photograph. That's on my website right now. Really, really cool. So I want to thank Richard and Linda in Seattle, and Ramona will be waking up shortly. She's taking it down. When she wakes up, I'm sure she's going to be very helpful. That's a beautiful picture. And that's real very long here, as you can see, and that's not very well on this as well. Really cool. On my website right now at artbell.com. First item under what's new. You might let me know what you think. But that's a real photograph, a little artistic interpretation. Really, really cool. But we just slammed that right up on the side. Just this fast.
Right back now to Michael C. Luckman. And Michael, if you're ready, I've got the public ready for you. Absolutely. Here they come. Let's see what happens. First time caller, you're on the air with Michael Luckman.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, where are you?
I'm in Ohio.
Okay.
I really don't have a question. I have a quick comment, and it was on the speculations that if there were evidence to present, or evidence were presented about some of these theories about human origins, that it might throw the Christians and conservative people into a tailspin.
Yes.
And I would have to disagree with that. I am a Christian, and I don't disbelieve any of the experiences that people have had or any of the things that show that there may be something out there. I'm not convinced, what it is one way or the other, if it's actual extraterrestrial life, if it's spiritual beings, if it's a government thing, I really don't know. I am a very curious person by nature, and I also have to be very conservative. But I think that it would not affect, I don't think that it would put doubt in the minds of Christians about human origin so much as it would just give people something else to argue about, similar to the way the theory of evolution did. I also think that maybe some of these reluctance on the part of Christians to delve into this too much could be stemming from the fact that we are physical beings living in the physical world, and we have very little understanding of the spiritual side of our existence. And because the Bible cautions us against communicating with the spirits, communicating with the dead, and that sort of thing, that people are afraid that they may be crossing a boundary that God has set for them.
No, I understand the reluctance. Believe me, I do, Michael.
Yeah, well, there are all degrees of belief, religious belief. And, for example, Father Balducci of the Vatican has come down, very much on the side of Zechariah Sitchin, very open to the concept of the beings coming down here, perhaps from the next planet.
That is true. Are you aware of Father Balducci's statements?
No, I'm really not.
Oh, that's something you should look into at the Vatican. Michael is absolutely right about that. So but that's a little tiny crack in the armor, really, Michael. Even as amazing as his comments are, it's still a tiny crack.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is, I really think that what's going to happen is, as things continue to decline, unfortunately, I hate to say that, but I think that that's really the picture is as things continue to decline environmentally and as this war thing continues to grind on and apparently expand and, who knows where it's going. But yes, it's going to be perhaps for our entire lifetime, unfortunately, as the government has stated. I think that there probably will be more UFO activity on a more pronounced basis, and I do feel that there will be a choosing up of signs, if you will, of people who feel, as I do, that these beings represented by UFOs or tracking UFOs are positive or at the very least neutral in the main, and others who feel like they're negative entities and should be stayed away from this at all costs. And I think it's a real.
Let me play the devil's advocate a little bit with you, Michael. If you generally believe they're positive, correct?
Yes. Okay. Or positive and neutral.
Why would they abduct people? Now, abduct people and conduct medical experiments on them, if you believe that is.
No, I do believe that occurs in many abductees, and no one has the answer to that question. It's just a question without an answer.
Abduction is like an alien word for kidnapping,
Well, you can say the word kidnapping, but
I did.
Okay, but it's
taken without your will is a pretty good, loose but accurate definition, right?
Well, sure, but the thing is that I don't really have an answer for you on that one.
Okay. All right. Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hello.
Hi. Hey, I have a really good question for you. I think it's really good. Have you read the book Dune?
Who was that, Dune? Dune, D-U-N.
I haven't read myself. But you know what the movie was based on?
Yeah, I've read it, Carl, what's the point?
Well, as opposed to the tunnels that were on Mars and base there, I know it's an understanding of fiction, or for non-fiction, but there's a lot of information behind that book that would deal with a lot to our first mission to the moon and some of its representatives talking there. I don't want to get into that. It's personal. By the way, this is Earl. I'm listening to you on Camp H in Wichita.
Oh, okay.
And friend or foe, I think foe because most opposites that we find, I think we're afraid of the unknown. And most times, and even if it is just a gesture, the understanding of it is unknown to us, and we wind up taking an offense. And I suppose they would do that too, as being friend or foe. If we ever did meet intelligent life from another planet or therefore.
Well, at the very least, if we have an encounter, it might be a 50-50 proposition. I mean, they could end up meeting as well, or they could end up, with us as, the cookbook episode, right?
Well, there really, history, there really isn't any, they haven't taken us over, they haven't made us their meal.
I was exaggerating,
But
it may be, as I said earlier, that Earth represents a rather prime hunk of real estate, but they really can't interfere, nor do they necessarily feel a need to interfere, because we're constantly on the verge of destroying ourselves and leaving the real estate available.
Yeah, you're saying that you're just watching and waiting for that moment.
I'm saying that's a possibility, and I'm saying that's got to be considered along with the warm, fuzzy, here we are, now you're going to be a planet of one, you will war no more, here's some wonderful technology for you, we are your friends, prepare to join the galactic empire. That's one possibility, but there's another possibility, the one I described. Ethan Rockies, you're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hello. Hello? Going once.
Yes.
Yes? Proceed, sir.
Good morning from Oklahoma.
And a pleasant good morning to you.
Free apology if I should sneeze, cough, or sniff. I'm fighting a little bit cold right now.
Sorry to hear it.
I missed a lot of the show because of work, but something Michael said about the tether experiment with the shuttle.
Yes.
Brought something back to memory. Michael, are you familiar with the NOSS satellites?
Why don't you continue beyond that, because I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, well, what they are is they're a set of triplet satellites. There's 9 sets of them that the Navy's flying, and they're the Naval Ocean Surveillance System. Now, some people think they're tethered, and some people think they use low thrust engines. The point I'm getting to here is, if they are tethered, how come nothing's going wrong with them? If they're just tethered to hold them together and not tethered for an experiment to see if they can generate power.
I mean, how come the aliens aren't coming around, circulating around where they're...
Well, I mean, you had said that there is a possibility that someone didn't want us to learn something. And I thought, well, that could be so, because if these 9 sets of tethered satellites have been flying since 1990 and nothing's messed with them, the tethers aren't used for any type of experimentation that people know of if they are tethered. They're just simply used to hold them in formation. And I've actually seen some of these flying, and they hold pretty good formation. That was one thing. Another thing I wanted to ask you was, I was looking back through one of my old issues of Astronomy Magazine, and I went across a massive photo from Apollo 15 panoramic camera of the moon, and on the Aristarchus Plateau is a very anomalous feature that has a striking resemblance to the Cydonia face. And it's camera frame 343 from the Apollo 15 panoramic camera. And I'm looking at it right now, and it's in the April 1995 issue of Astronomy Magazine. And I wondered if you'd ever seen that, or if anyone had ever mentioned it to you before.
No, I have not seen it. I haven't heard about it. I'm definitely interested. Why don't you fire a copy of that off to me?
Okay, I can, what I can do is maybe I can fax doesn't come through.
No, fax is bad.
You're not accepting snail mail either, are you?
Not at the moment. But if you can get somebody with a scanner, get a scanner and just fire it over.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. And something else I want to get you. When you start accepting snail mail,
Right.
I've got some stuff from NASA that I'd like to send you, straight from the Bond County.
I'll be announcing it right here on the air. All right, thank you very much and take care. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Michael Luckman. Hello. Hello there. I'm sorry, west of the Rockies.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm a geology student. I was trying to understand plate tectonics, so I made a plate model of the Earth without the water.
Right.
What I came up with was looked like a fractured sphere with a large part of it missing.
Right.
What occurred to me is that maybe Mars was once part of Earth, removed by some type of cosmic collision, and perhaps what we're seeing on Mars are remnants of the same civilization and no structure in it.
In other words, if Mars and Earth were once one.
The mass of the area missing on Earth, if you account for continental drift and other things, appears to be about 1/3 of the mass of the Earth. So about the size of Mars.
That's a new one on me, but that's very, very interesting, and that would account for the artifacts keeping other things in place, wouldn't it?
It might.
That's a totally new one on me. Let's see, about 1/3 of the mass, you say, which is about the mass of Mars, is missing from Earth.
And perhaps what we see on Mars is part of that same civilization on Earth that the larger here.
Not bad. Not bad. I think it would have to go back a lot further than that, but still not bad, sir. Not bad at all. All right, thank you. Michael C. Ruckman is up for you next on the first time caller line. Hello.
Yeah, since we've had a dune buggy up here on the moon,
Right.
how come we haven't built a split level and a carport to park that sucker in? It seems like the American thing to do to me.
Put a garage up there.
Go back and gotten on the moon. Also, do you think contrails have anything to do with Star Wars in terms of electromagnetic fields with tau particles in the atmosphere acting as a possible plasma attractor? I'll take my answer off here. Thanks.
Well, that's a lot. I'll try to plow through here, but the contrail controversy is worth asking you about. You following that at all?
Yes, I have been.
Do you have any opinions on it?
My seeing that it would appear that it's related to the environmental problems and trying to stave off some of the environmental problems.
I should have said really chemtrails. That's what everybody calls it.
I can tell you that New York, I have the skies have been absolutely covered at times with what looks like giant chalk markings. Chemtrails all over the
Something's going on, and I do agree. It's an effort to change something. I think there's something going on with chemtrails, and I think there's something going on with heart. And I'm not sure which one is working on the weather, and which one might be working on perhaps some effort to cool the planet or something like that. I have no idea.
So there's something in the master program.
It certainly is.
The chemtrail program.
So you do believe there really is something there, whatever it is.
There's no question. I'll tell you, I was standing. I live in the village in Manhattan. I was standing on the street, and a friend of mine who I was looking at regularly was telling me about it when they first started to appear. And he said, "You look up." Tried to show me this cloud. He said, "That's not a real cloud that was formed." I said, "Come on, you gotta be kidding."
Yeah, that's not adorable. All right, here we go. First time caller line, you're on the air with Michael C. Ruckman. Hi.
Oh, hi. This is Julie from Philadelphia.
Yes.
I find it absolutely fascinating, and I just wondered, could Michael tell how we could get involved with Cosmic Number? What is it, Cosmic Majority?
Majority.com. Well, once we, let's take back out, apparently everyone's been trying to get through, and you would go to CosmicMajority.com, or you could send us an email at NEBULA, NEBULA 2002 at AOL.com. Tom, and we'll be happy to give you membership information.
Well, that'd be great.
All right.
We're not confident of UFO interest in Philadelphia, I can tell you.
Yes, actually, a lot of UFO interest originally in the West and the Southwest. Interestingly, has moved a lot of reports in the Midwest and the East Coast now in the last, I don't know, 2 years maybe. Suddenly it's moved east, really weird. Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Bill.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Michael.
Hi.
I don't know if you touched on this at all tonight. I only catch the last 2 hours of the show where I am. My name is Dave. I'm originally from Mars, and I listen to you guys on the radio.
You're originally from where?
From Mars.
Okay, so you think your ancestors.
Through the last couple of years, listening to you and Mike Siegel, unfortunately before, but yeah, I'm pretty much sure of it.
I see.
The black star is just outside Pluto that will pass through Earth's orbit in 2003, I believe it is.
So some say yes.
What type of effect, what's the time frame of that? Does it happen every 3,500, 5,000, 11,000 years? What type of effect will that have on our gravity, or will it cause a full shift indefinitely?
All right, let's ask about that. There are many who feel that the Constitution's planet or the star associated with it is indeed on the way. The rumors are everywhere. I assume you've heard them, Michael.
I have heard them. Two scientists recently just made some kind of statements, of course, to it. What effect will it have? Well, I guess it remains to be seen. Yeah, I mean, it could be catastrophic theoretically, and if we, go by as the planet comes closer, the gravitational pull could cause all kinds of different problems. I'm not so sure about a actual pole shift, which would be the ultimate worst thing that can happen, but we'll just have to see.
Pole shift would be really bad. Really very bad. Yeah. East of the Rockies, you're on air with Michael C. Luckman. Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
I want to say, who are you, mister? Who are you? An atheistic, drug abusing, hippie, new ager to come and tell us for 6,000 years of truth and right from the Bible. Call it Bible something. Listen to this. I love the Bible. I love the Bible. I live by the Bible. And you want to know about hell? You know about hell? Hell is not a Star Trek black hole. Hell is the pit of boiling sewage where your skin is pulled from your face and you are dumped into the boiling sewage. And spiders crawl over your body, the snakes and everything that will feed your body will cover you. And you want more? You want more fairy tales? You know nothing about hell.
I wanted to know what your health. Boiling pits of sewage, I remember that.
Stop. That wasn't the real JC, that was a tape of JC. But that, on the other hand, I let go because that is JC. And that you were hearing, no matter who was playing him to us. And that is that man's opinion. What we do here and where it's going to lead.
Yeah.
And he is, albeit a rather extreme example, an example of the fanatical right, religious right.
Sure.
Yeah. So, boiling pits of sewage await. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I was wondering about it. If there's any way we might be able to tell the age sometime, because the mist of Atlanta.
Well, whoever it was, we just lost him. Sorry about that. His phone just disconnected. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, turn your radio off, please.
Okay.
Number one.
Yes?
Now proceed and tell us where you are.
North Carolina.
Okay, fire away.
Okay, am I on the air?
You better be, or
Okay.
we're in trouble.
Oh, no, I didn't know if I'm talking to anybody yet.
Well, see, that's well, you're talking to me, and I'm the only one here, so you have to be on the air.
Is Michael there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you're there too. Okay, this is the first time caller, so I can't tell. Yes, this is from North Carolina. Actually, I was able to get through after you mentioned the story about the white plane. Long-flying white plane?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you can talk about that later. I'd like to hear about that.
Yeah,
I had that happen here. Yeah.
the Lewis plane came out, suddenly shot out of the cloud as we were talking about the cloud, whether it was a real or fake cloud. And it went back in and actually filled in missing area, the open area in the cloud, so.
Do you have any markings on it?
I didn't have any markings on it.
Yeah, pure white, right?
Yes.
Oh, I saw one of those too.
Yeah.
Everybody's seeing them.
Oh, really? Oh, well, great, well,
Well, yeah, obviously something is going on. The question is, what is going on? We don't know. Is this an attempt to mitigate some sort of warming of the planet? Is it a sort of change? That's my guess. Change the weather. I guess ultimately it would do that as well. But everybody's sort of, who knows what it is? We just know something's going on. A wild card line. You're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hi. Hello. Going once, going twice. Gone. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hello.
Yes, sir. If you assume that 10 billion years ago that people wanted to live in interstellar space, about 10 billion per galaxy, there must be an awful lot of dark matter out there, and these UFOs are reconnaissance things. And they likely have charts that show us the Soviet Aboriginal savages that eat one another. They'd be afraid to land in certain places. And they're more likely replenishing some of the things they can't continuously recycle, like oxygen from our atmosphere.
That may well be. I read a very interesting article the other day about scientists are saying now that one of the first space probes we sent out, which is now beginning to get in really deep space outside the galaxy, is some mysterious unknown force is actually slowing it down significantly. I mean, sort of like the satellite, or the space probe, I guess it's more accurately called, is running into some kind of slow but sure barrier out there. There's a lot of strange things that we don't know about. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hello.
Hi, interesting show tonight.
Thank you.
Debbie in Montana.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, I was wondering if your guests would be open to the possibility that those monuments and everything are put there, not by us or by aliens, but by immortals. Like
Immortals?
By immortal beings, like angels. The Bible thing is continuing.
Yeah, anything's possible. It depends how you want to define, angels or, extraterrestrials. I mean, some people put them in the same category. Some people put them in different categories. Supernatural or supernatural beings, which angels have been described as beings, would, fit into that category. But I myself don't, I think in terms of extraterrestrial and angels.
I see. There's a website, watcher.cc, that talks about Mount Landon's exploded planet theory. And they say that those monuments are angelic as opposed to aliens. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right, thank you very much. So you see, Michael, as you listen to the variety of callers that we've packed into an hour here, not even an hour yet, a fairly representative portion of them have obviously been the religious right. Now, that's why I contend that Dr. Van Flandern is absolutely right. And if we come back with evidence, irrefutable evidence, that would suggest things that would upset the status quo, that we are very, very, very unlikely to hear about it right away.
That may be, but I think we will hear about it, and I think that, while it might be very upsetting to some people, the fact of the matter is that a lot of people, like you and I, hopefully would welcome this and would be very excited about it.
I welcome the truth, yes, whatever it is. First time caller line, you're on the air with Michael C. Luckman. Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I just want to address something. The two of you indirectly, directly, I would say, called that guy a crackpot and nut and said he was from Mars because you never addressed it. You never.
No, actually we didn't. I said you mean in the sense that you are a relative of, you are a relative of Martians, which is the way we began the program. I actually, as one of the first things I said, I think, to Michael, do you mean that we are descended from Martians? He said yes. He said yes, so no.
That particular guy said he was from Mars.
I know, but he admitted, sir, that it was in that sense that he said that.
I mean, that's
Yeah, he missed that.
good show.
Okay, thank you, take care. Wildfire Line, you're on the air with Michael C. Loughlin. Hi. Hello?
Hey, Art,
Yes.
how you doing, buddy?
Okay, where are you?
Myrtle Beach.
South Carolina?
Yes,
All right.
yeah, I got a question for Michael. Yeah, you were talking about the pyramids, that new place you found near it.
Yes.
You said it was twice as tall as the Trade Center?
Well, no, what I said was that the Ark pyramids, now this is separate from the old phase and the new phase. There's another area entirely called Elysium, and that area has pyramids that are twice as tall. I would say at least 5 or 6 pyramids shown in one photo that are twice as tall as the height of what the World Trade Center used to be.
Well, that's amazing because, the big pyramid in Giza
Right.
is about 44 stories long.
Yeah, that's right. Uh-huh.
The bottom of it covers about 16 acres.
Right.
So if you go in the same degrees, it's about 42 degrees, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom of the pyramid that you're talking about on Mars would be somewhere around 80 acres.
Right.
So that had to be a pretty good bit of distance apart.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see when Dr. Van Flandern begins looking at the second phase, which say he's already seen, and then begins to do some of the mathematical calculations comparing the two, the Cydonia image and what you have found. Or actually, you gave credit to somebody else at the beginning.
Yeah, there's a guy by the name, there's a astronomer by the name of Greg Ormay, O-R-M-A-Y, who found this. I believe he's an amateur astronomer, and he was the guy who actually made the discovery.
Okay. Houston Rockies, you're on the air with Michael C. Loughlin. Good morning.
Hello? Yes.
Yes.
I was wondering if you thought there was any connection between Sirius, the star, and the Mars, between the two species breeding.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm familiar with somewhat with the Sirius mystery, the book, and the Dogon tribe and stuff, but I just have no idea.
Too much of a connection to try to make right now, anyway. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Michael C. Loughlin. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes, sir.
This is Arnie calling from Lake Forest, California, listening to you on KFI out of Los Angeles.
Of course, yes.
I just wanted to say, and I'd like to hear what your guest has to say about this. I am a Christian, and I have an interesting theory from a Christian perspective that if there was an ancient civilization on Mars, I have a theory of why it no longer exists.
What would that be?
Well, if you're familiar with the genealogy in the Bible of Genesis about Noah and the flood, I find there's a possibility that God could have created 2 human races, one on Earth and one on Mars. And what happened was that later on, man fell into sin and became unfaithful to God. And the difference between Mars and Earth is that on Earth, only 8 people were still faithful to God, and that was Noah and his family. But on Mars, and this is the difference, there was nobody left who was faithful to God, so God wiped them out.
Well, sir, your theory is as good as anybody else's. Thank you very much. That's as good a theory as anybody's right now.
Well,
the fact of the matter is we don't know. We just have these pictures, and they do demand some sort of explanation. There's no question about it. First time caller line, you're on the air with Michael C. Loughlin. Hello.
Good morning, Art, from the low desert.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling from Palm Springs, California.
Right.
And I'd like to ask Michael a question regarding the phases on Mars and the talk that we've had about time travel in the past.
Yes.
And if there's a distinct possibility that there were beings that had a civilization on Mars that was way advanced from ours, and decided that they had to leave their particular planet for whatever reason.
Well, the reason is pretty obvious. Their atmosphere more or less evaporated for one reason or another, probably a collision of some sort.
And so their form of breathing was going away, and so they had to adapt, right? Something else. So it's a very logical sense that they would be coming to our planet if they felt that they could reproduce and continue on.
It's a theory. It's a theory.
You believe that we have been traveled by time travelers? We have been visited by time travelers?
I do.
Yeah, I don't know what, I have an open mind on it.
I think it's likely.
Art, how do you feel?
I just told you. I think it's likely. If time travel is ever going to be a reality, and I believe that it will be, in fact, getting closer and closer with quantum entanglement and quantum computers and all the rest of it. If it's ever going to happen, and I believe it's likely that someday it will, and it is possible, then they would either be here now or have flitted through from time to time. So it's logical to me. Does that answer your question? Caller? I guess he's not there. Eastern Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Hi. Turn your radio off, please. All right. Hi. Real quick question, because we're almost out of time.
Okay, keeping with the Christian thing, what about the possibility that Mars could be the birds of Eden, and as we volcanoes down here to Earth?
Again, it's certainly a theory. Michael, we're out of time. I'm so sorry. Again, I want to say, though, if you look back on this hour at the calls that have come in, I would say go back and say, hey, Tom, you know, I was on with Art Bell, and you should have heard the last hour, Tom. You might be right.